Imagine this. The world is just gone, wiped clean by a bunch of angry gods. Today, we're diving into this incredible Greek myth where the only way to save humanity is to solve a super bizarre, divine riddle.
So, really, what would you do? It's a huge question, right? Well, for two people in Greek mythology, Deucalion and Pyrrha, this wasn't some thought experiment. This was their new, terrifying reality. Let's dig into how they handled it.
Okay, so our story kicks off with the gods on Mount Olympus, looking down at humanity. And let's just say they were not happy. Not happy at all.
Zeus, the king of the gods, he'd had it. He just had enough. He looked at the people of the so-called Bronze Age, and all he saw was violence and disrespect. His verdict? It was absolute. It was time for a total reset. And by that, I mean wipe every single one of them off the face of the earth.
And look, this wasn't just some bad weather, oh no. This was a full-on divine assault. You had Zeus unleashing this insane, non-stop downpour from the sky, and as if that wasn't enough, his brother Poseidon, god of the sea, gets in on the action. He smashes the earth with his trident, and bam! Water just erupts from underground, the oceans swell up. It was a two-pronged attack designed to drown everything. The Roman poet Ovid put it just perfectly. He said, sea and land had no distinction. Can you just try to picture that? Everything you know, every field, every forest, every city, just gone. Replaced by one single, endless ocean. No shores, no beaches, just water as far as the eye could see.
I mean, the whole world was literally turned upside down. The natural order of things, completely shattered. You've got people rowing boats over what used to be their own farms. You've got fish getting caught in the tops of trees. Wolves are swimming right next to sheep, predators and prey just trying to survive. Even dolphins are bumping into oak trees. It was absolute, mind-bending chaos.
But even in all of this complete and total destruction, there was this tiny, tiny flicker of hope. And it all came down to a warning from a certain titan, someone who knew a thing or two about going against Zeus.
Yeah, you guessed it. It was Prometheus. He saw what Zeus was planning and gave his son Deucalion a heads up. Deucalion didn't waste any time. He built this huge chest, basically an ark, and filled it with supplies for himself and his wife, Pyrrha. And just like that, the two of them became humanity's last hope.
So for 9 days and 9 nights straight, their little ark is just being tossed around on this massive raging sea. Seriously, can you even imagine the terror, the sheer loneliness and uncertainty of it all? Just floating out there, totally isolated while the entire world you knew drowned right beneath you? And when the waters finally started to go down, their ark came to rest on Mount Parnassus. And this was it. This was all that was left of the human race. Just two? You can hear the despair in Deucalion's voice. They were completely, utterly alone. The only two people left in what was basically a global graveyard. And the amazing part isn't just that they survived. The real question is, what on earth do you do now? Well, when you're faced with an impossible job, like, repopulating the entire planet, you do the only thing you really can. You pray. They turned to the gods for some kind of answer. So they made their way to this old, moss-covered shrine of the goddess Themis. She's the goddess of divine law and order. The place was damp, totally abandoned. The altar fires were long dead, but they knelt down anyway and just prayed for help, for any kind of way to bring life back to this silent, empty world. And believe it or not, the goddess answered them. But her instructions were, they were bizarre, super cryptic, and honestly, kind of horrifying. She told them to cast behind you the bones of your great mother. I mean, what in the world is that supposed to mean? Yeah, this wasn't some straightforward command. This was a riddle from a god. And everything, humanity's entire future, depended on them figuring it out.
And you can see how they reacted completely differently. Pyrrha was just horrified. She took it literally and was thinking, no way am I going to dig up my mother's grave. That's awful. But Deucalion, he took a second. He realized it wasn't a command, it was a puzzle. He thought, wait a minute, Great Mother? What if that doesn't mean my mother, but the Great Mother, Mother Earth, Gaia? And if that's true, then her bones, what are they? They're the stones lying all over the ground.
So, with the riddle cracked,
Deucalion and Pyrrha decided to go for it. They put their faith in this wild idea and started this strange ritual, a ritual that was about to change the world again.
Okay, so they followed the oracle's instructions to the letter. They veiled their heads so they couldn't see, loosened their robes, and then they just started walking, picking up stones and tossing them over their shoulders, never once looking back. Can you picture how strange that must have felt?
And then it happened, a flat-out miracle. The stones they were throwing started to change. They began to lose their hardness, to soften up, to actually take shape. And slowly, these rough, imperfect human forms started to emerge, almost like statues that were just being carved.
And there was a very clear pattern to this incredible creation. The stones that Deucalion threw, they became men, and the ones Pyrrha threw, they became women. And just like that, from the very bones of the earth, a whole new human race was born.
You know, what's really cool is how this story has left its mark on language. It's fascinating, really. The Greek word for people is laue, and the Greek word for stone is los. See the connection? The story of where we came from is literally baked right into the words they used.
So, what were these new people like? The ones born from stone? Well, the myth says they were a hardy bunch, tough, used to hard work. It makes sense, right? Their origin, coming straight from the rock of the earth, was basically a testament to their resilience and strength.
And that really leaves us with one final thought to chew on. If this ancient story suggests we're all descended from stone, what does that say about us? About our own ability to survive, to rebuild, to endure pretty much anything that's thrown our way? It's a pretty powerful idea, this concept of our resilience being rooted in the earth itself. Thanks for diving into this one with me.